You know that exact moment. It's 6 o'clock, you're wiped, nothing in the fridge feels like dinner. Your thumb's already on the DoorDash app. It's not a willpower problem, but it is what's quietly draining the grocery budget. Because at 6 o'clock after a long day, just order something can feel a lot easier than sticking to that budget. I've made that call more times than I care to admit, but a while back, I started doing something that actually helps. Loading the freezer in advance with meals I'd actually choose over takeout anyway. Starting with these steak burrito bowls. It's basically Chipotle, except already bought and waiting for me. All right, we are working on 5 dinners today. Steak burrito bowls, hibachi chicken, buffalo chicken wraps, sausage and sweet potato, and a cowboy pasta salad, basically a taco salad that got ambitious. So we're not doing 10, we're doing 5. That's the whole trick. So we are working on enough for a real week. I'm not trying to stock my freezer for the apocalypse here. First things first, before I touch a single vegetable, I want to get this ground beef going. So that's basically a rule of thumb for a day like today is whatever takes the longest is what you want to get started first. So I've got a pound of ground beef that I am browning. I'm going to get it going and then I'm going to drain it and set it off to the side so it can be cooling while I'm doing something else. Now, I am not some super organized person. It took way too many freezer preps for me to figure this out. When half an hour later, I was supposed to add some cooked ground beef to a freezer bag and I hadn't even started. So I'm not super organized, just have done this a lot and learned along the way that you want to get this going early so that it is ready when you need it. Now on to the produce. And here is a little trick when you're batch cooking like this. So a lot of times, if you're preparing one recipe at a time, you might chop an onion and then a pepper and then a sweet potato and then another onion and then maybe some broccoli. No. We are going to chop all of the onions at once and then separate them out into bowls, depending on which recipe they're going into. So I've got half an onion going into the steak bowls, half an onion for the sausage sheet pan, a whole onion sliced for the hibachi. So chop once, distribute multiple ways. Same thing is true of the bell peppers. I'm going to separate them into different bowls. Same thing is true of the sweet potatoes. That is the secret of batch cooking. Nobody warns you that it's kind of boring, but your future self will be glad you did this. Some of this, by the way, is pre-chopped, pre-sliced, frozen, bagged, pre-diced, straight from the grocery store shortcuts. So no trophies get handed out for doing it the hard way. And before you ask, no, that is not a new tattoo on my arm. I did not go get inked up over the weekend. That is a hand-drawn 250 American flag, courtesy of my daughter for America's 250th birthday this past weekend. We were told it was waterproof marker, and it is proving to be very waterproof. At this point, it's held up to multiple showers and many sinks full of dishes. But wherever you were this past weekend for the 4th of July, I hope you had a good weekend with your family. Now I move on to sauces. The hibachi chicken gets a coconut aminos instead of soy sauce. That works for the gluten-free eaters in my life. The cowboy pasta dressing is one I'd actually stop and make on purpose, freezer prep or not. So it's a mix of Greek yogurt, salsa, a little bit of mayo, mustard, and a splash of vinegar. The buffalo chicken wraps get buffalo sauce with a splash of melted butter, just a splash, not a whole stick, whisked together, and that's going to be marinating some raw chicken. Now for seasoning. I am standing in front of my alphabetized spice collection, also known as the chemistry set, and I'm going to apply the same principle here as I did with the produce. So I've got my prep guide in front of me, and I'm holding some chili powder, and rather than just, I'm going to do the chili powder and then do other seasonings. No, I'm going to look for every recipe that has chili powder, and I'm going to measure out all of the chili powder at once. The same thing is true of the cumin. The same thing is true of the paprika. And all of these seasoning blends are mixed from scratch, no packets. It costs an extra, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and all of those spices are already sitting in my cabinet, so it's not really a sacrifice. It saves a little bit of money, and because I'm not paying for a taco seasoning packet that's basically chili powder and salt wearing a name brand. All right, here is a little secret for you. These are called dorot. They are actually minced garlic and ginger in little freezer cubes. So the hibachi chicken calls for quite a bit of fresh garlic and fresh ginger chopped up, but that is so time consuming. So no, thank you. So I found these little cubes at Trader Joe's. Again, they're called dorot, D-O-R-O-T. And you just pop some of these in and you get to infuse your dish with that beautiful Asian flavor. So you're welcome. And now it's time to add the meats. So first I'm going to add the steak. It's cubed. I'm adding that straight into the steak burrito bowl bag with the beans, the corn, and the taco blend. The hibachi chicken gets diced chicken breast. I'm going to put that in the bag right in there with that garlic and ginger sauce so that it is marinating the second that it hits the freezer. And for the buffalo chicken, I'm going to add these oopsies. Yep, that actually just happened. So that's the part you don't see in those fancy influencer videos. Anyway, I'm adding these whole chicken breasts to the buffalo chicken. And this is the whole reason the ground beef went in first. So back it comes into the very last bag, along with black beans, corn, green chilies, and that yogurt salsa dressing, cowboy pasta. Now it's time to seal them up. And as I'm sealing them up, I am going to try to get them as flat as possible because that way they take up less space in the freezer. And then I'm also pressing out as much air as I can. Air is not your friend when it comes to freezer meals. Also, if there is a meal with some sauce in it, I'm trying to get that meat in that sauce, get it marinating, because by the time it's going to be marinating the whole time it's in the freezer, and then by the time it thaws, it's super flavorful. 5 bags sealed flat, ready for the freezer. And hey, maybe you only got through 2 today. You know what? That's still a win. That's still setting you up for success. Now, for the steak burrito bowl. So a bowl like this from a restaurant would cost, I don't know, $12, $13 plus tip, plus 30 minutes to 45 minutes at a restaurant. Instead, it's just here and ready to enjoy. So that's at least 5 nights where the phone can stay face down on the counter. Dinner's already decided, already paid for, already waiting for us. For those nights where even opening the freezer feels like a little bit too much, I created a simple list of... For those nights where even opening the freezer feels like too much, I created a free printable, simple swaps for those almost takeout nights. The link's in the description below if you want to grab that. And hey, let me know in the comments, what takeout do you reach for first when you're too tired to cook? I might try to reverse engineer some takeout fake out next. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.